Hi everyone, welcome to our weekly wrap up. I have a lot to cover and I hopefully will keep it in a short amount of time, so I'll go ahead and get started. This week during Community Circle, we really focused on our rules for listening. The class and I have 4 rules that we are going to be working on that will apply to any such situation that the students are in. They should have their bodies still, their eyes watching, their voices quiet, and their ears listening. These 4 rules will help them to be able to listen in the classroom when I'm teaching or listen to a student when the other student is sharing, and there'll be skills that can be applied across any situation. This weekend, the students are going to be bringing home this piece of paper. Up at the top, it tells you about the skill that we were learning, the listening rules. It reminds you of what they are, and it asks you to do an activity with your children. This is something that I would like to come back home or come back to school after you've done it at home with your child. It's just meant to be a facilitated conversation between you and your child to talk about how these skills, the listening rule, can be applied when they're at home or in the classroom or other situations. So you'll do the activity with your child and then you'll write their name, the date, and you'll sign it, and then they can bring it back to me sometime next week. Then in reading this week, we've been doing a bunch of different things, talking about the 5 question words that can be asked or answered when reading or writing a story: who, what, where, why, when, and when. And we've also focused specifically on 2, who and what, which is our check for understanding. So when we read a book or when a book is read to us, we should be stopping to ask, who are the characters and what is happening? This weekend, also, you're going to get the first parent pipeline. This is just a little message about what skill or strategy we're focusing on in the classroom, check for understanding, and questions that you can ask your child at home after you've read a story to them or after they've read a story on their own. So look out for that in your child's folder this afternoon. We also started in writing this week, writing a class book based on this story, My Heart Fills with Happiness. It was one of the books we read this week during our classroom book a day, which is when we read a book every day just for enjoyment. And the whole premise of the book is things that make this child happy or fill their heart with happiness. And it inspired such a wonderful discussion that the children then went on to write what fills their heart with happiness. So this weekend you will see in their folders just their rough draft. However, we are creating a book that will stay here in our classroom with all of the children's words at the bottom, and they're going to illustrate the pictures either later today or next week. So that's what we've done in writing this week, is started to publish our first classroom story. Something else that started this week that I am so excited about, it's my first year participating, is something called the Global Read Aloud. And your child should have taken home a letter earlier this week that kind of explained what it was. We've been talking about maps and globes in social studies, and the Global Read Aloud is something that is happening across the world. Any teacher is able to participate across the globe, and what happens is that students read the same stories during a set amount of time, and then they connect with each other, either through writing or through pictures or through digital communication. We are so lucky to be participating in this 6-week study based on an author named Yuyi Morales. And this is the book that we read today, Dreamers, and that we're focusing on this week. And we are going to be connecting with another class in Boston, and we will be writing them letters, we will be drawing them pictures, and we will hopefully be connecting with them through digital communication, through Skype or through Google Hangouts. We're still trying to figure that part out. But the other thing that's happening is that our class is also receiving postcards from different states in the United States, and even I think we have some participants from Canada. So as those postcards come in, we're going to be mapping them out to see where in the world these letters are coming from, to really show that connection and to really focus on applying the map skills that we've been talking about in social studies to something greater. I'm so excited about all these things that have been happening in the classroom. And as we continue on, if you have any connections or if you want to share anything, please feel free to do so. This week in math, we've been talking about organizing and collecting and organizing data. So we collected information about animals with wings and without wings. We collected information about the number of boys and girls in our class. And then we put that information into different charts or graphs to make it easier for us to read and to understand. So that is something that we won't spend too much more time on right now, but it's a skill that they need to know at the beginning of the year because we'll start working with that more later on. If you have any questions about anything that we've done this week or anything that we are going to do coming up, feel free to reach out to me via email or through the Class Dojo. All right, that's it. I tried to keep it short. Have a wonderful weekend.